that's what the APC put out in 2014. As soon as they were voted to power, President Buhari said he doesn't know what they mean by restructuring. He doesn't believe in it. But in 2018, when we're going to have another election, a committee of APC was set up to deceive Nigerians, headed by the governor of Kaduna State, Governor El-Rufai. And that committee came out, beautiful program on restructuring, that Nigeria should be restructured. It was in their manifesto. They set up another committee on it. That committee said, restructure Nigeria for the purpose of the election. After the election, that report was thrown into the dustbin. And that is where we are.
The evolution of powers and the press freedom has been named, amongst other things, as strategies to use in fixing the legitimation crisis in Nigeria. A professor of the Department of Sociology at the University of Lagos, Adebayo Ninowolowo, who stated this during his valedictory lecture to mark his exit from the school, also pointed out that Nigeria as a rich country should not have no business with poverty. PlusTvAfrica correspondent Adebanke Odunuyi has more in this report.
Delivering his lecture titled Continuities on Legitimation Crisis and the Human Condition, Professor Ninowolowo noted that the crisis had its background in philosophy, which compares the political systems to the reality of the citizens.
When we talk about legitimation crisis, it's rooted philosophically. You try to juxtapose the nexus of the political state in relation to the citizenry and the amelioration of the human condition.
The professor also added that the ASU strike means that there is something very wrong with the political system.
That we are here holding this occasion, this program, is symptomatic of legitimation crisis. Where else in the world that academics who embark on strike almost every 6 months or at most every year? There is something wrong with the system.
During the course of the lecture, the professor said the youth are the future of the country.
The older generations, they don't seem to have the answer for the real resolution of the problem. The younger folks like this, like, what's the name of that guy? Professor Emeka, Elimelu, he will say, the future of Africa is in your hands, addressing the youth. I agree with him.
The strike embarked upon by the Academic Staff Union of Universities was said to have had a great effect on students.
Definitely, it has affected the university calendar and also the students, because many of them were doing their projects before the strike started. But definitely, I'm sure that the university will make up for that and will be able to adjust the university calendar accordingly.
Traditional rulers present at the event described Professor Ninowolowo as a man of great character.
Oh, Ninowolowo, the emeritus professor, is a very good man. I've known him for long, over 40 years I've known him.
The professor highlighted the devolution of powers and press freedom as solutions to the legitimation crisis in Nigeria. Adebanke Odunuyi, Plus TV News.
As Christians are basking in the euphoria of Easter celebration, some Nigerians say it's worth celebrating irrespective of many challenges. And that's on our Street Views. Take a listen.
It signifies freedom for me. Means that came, he sacrificed himself, and he has died so that a lot of sins that a lot of people commit, even before they commit it, they are forgiven. And so once they just accept him, everything is gone. Yeah, there's insecurity, there is a lot of things, but Jesus did not cause it.
As a Catholic, Good Friday meant a lot to me because we are celebrating the resurrection of our Lord Jesus Christ. If you are alive today, despite the security situation in the country, you should celebrate yourself. You should celebrate Christ, because without Christ, there's no life.
Where there is life, there is hope, right? We have to, we don't like, we are Nigerians. No matter the condition, we are going to continue smiling and celebrating our life because we are alive and there is health, and we thank God.
It's worth celebrating because no matter what, we can't just deny ourselves the right to be happy. So we need to be happy, to share, because now Nigeria itself is very bad. So the only way you can come out of the bad situation is just for you to give yourself that happiness.
As a Christian, I just understood that Good Friday is the day that Jesus Christ went to Galilee and he was crucified on the cross of Calvary, and it's a very significant event. So regardless of whatever may be, what may come, the circumstances on ground, it should be celebrated, and it should be taken into consideration that this particular day is actually the day that somebody came from heaven, took the form of man and died for our sins.
In what it, in any condition, we should praise God. When you are alive, be able to praise God. And especially this week, most of people is late. Maybe sickness or one thing or the other happens suddenly. So when we are alive, you praise God.
Ó ṣeun gbogbo nínú ayé wa nítorí pé ńgbà tí Jésù kú fún wa tán, ó tún jíǹde, ó rà wá padà nínú ẹ̀ṣẹ̀. Ìwé mímọ́ náà ló sọ nínú ohun gbogbo ní ká ṣáà máa dúpẹ́. Ó lọ́pẹ́ ni. Ọpẹ́ ló yẹ. Ọpẹ́ ló yẹ. Àwa láyé, ọpẹ́ ló yẹ.
And now to other parts of Africa, Tunisian authorities have intensified efforts to avoid an environmental disaster after a merchant fuel ship carrying 1,000 tons of fuel sank off the coast of Gabes on Friday. The Tunisian Navy had rescued all 7 crew members from the ship, which was heading from Equatorial Guinea to Malta, and sent a distress call 7 miles away from southern city of Gabes. The Environment Ministry said bad weather was responsible to the incident, adding that water had seeped into the ship, reaching a height of 2 meters. It said barriers would be set up to limit the speed of fuel and condone of the ships before sanctioning the spillage. And outside Africa, Russian President Vladimir Putin has advised the Russian energy exports be rerouted to Africa and Latin America amid a push to diversify supply from the West. He also said that the construction of new oil and gas pipeline be considered from the hydrocarbon fields in West and East Siberian. Putin suggested meeting fuel demands of domestic consumers, including car owners, transport companies, and agriculture. And in business, the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, has said that the nation's inflation rate increased to 15.92% in March 2022, according to a report released by the NBS in March. The Consumer Price Index, CPI, which measures inflation, increased to 15.92% year on, which is 2.25% lower compared to 18.17% recorded in March 2021. He further said that on month-on-month basis, the headline index increased to 1.74% in March 2022, representing 0.11% points higher than the 1.63% rate recorded in February 2022. And to some entertainment news, popular singer Kiss Daniel and his former record label boss Emperor Jeezy, CEO of G World worldwide entertainment are back on good terms. During the week, the duo was seen hugging each other and dancing to Kiss Daniel new song O'Shea in a video posted on social media. According to a source close to the duo, they had ended their feud and the court case initiated against Daniel by the G World will be discontinued. And in sport, Sadio Mane scored twice as Liverpool beat Man City 3-2 in a classic FA Cup semi-finals at Wembley and kept alive their quadruple hopes. Ibrahima Konate opened the scoring after the 9th minute before Mane netted a buzzer goal, tackling City's keeper Zach Steffen on the goal line. Mane added his second with a thunderous volley before the break. Jack Grealish scored for City shortly after the restart, and Bernardo Silva added another in the 91st minute, but Liverpool held on to their reach 15th FA Cup final. And that's the news brief. For more stories, please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel and Plus TV Africa and Plus TV Africa Lifestyle. Many thanks for watching. I am Messi Bopo.
There is no voting on social media. To vote, you would require a permanent voter's card. To get your PVC, visit cvr.inecnigeria.org. Create your account with a valid email address and start the registration process. An activation link will be sent to you. Click on the link and activate your account. Fill out the form, pick and submit a convenient date and time for your biometrics. Print the application slip, which should have your QR code. On the appointed date, go to the nearest INEC office for your biometric capturing. Thereafter, you will get a registration slip to pick your permanent voter's card when ready. Get your PVC today. This message is from Plus TV Africa.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host.
I bet your eyes and ears are thrilled with music videos coming from Nigerian artists. You obviously notice the singer, the video vixens, and other talents. But what about the music director? Close your eyes, think about your favorite music video, and see if you can tell who directed it. Great if you can, sad if you can't. We're here to celebrate the brains behind the videos out there, and here are 5 top Nigerian music video directors. Number 1, Clarence Peters. He's a director, filmmaker, and cinematographer. The founder and chief executive officer of Capital Dream Pictures was involved in a mobile-sponsored music video for a documentary on AIDS in 1998. He directed 40 episodes of the TV series Everyday People. Peters has also shot a good number of documentaries, TV commercials, short films, and TV features. He has directed music videos for recording artists such as Dare, Durella, Wizkid, Seyi Shay, Burna Boy, Waje, Tubaba, Fino, Runtown, and Yemi Alade. Peters has won numerous awards for his works. Number 2, TG Omori. Also known as Boy Director, TG Omori is a Nigerian music video director and cinematographer. He started directing at 15 while overseeing stage plays at school and church. He began making videos a year later but took it up professionally at 18 after graduating from Pencil Film Institute. This made him the youngest professional filmmaker in Nigeria. He has worked with Olamide, Wizkid, Burna Boy, Techno, Kiss Daniel, Fireboy DML, Fowls, Timaya, Naira Marley, and many others.
Pass it down. So I put a Ferragamo when I pass it down. Put some Gucci on that booty cause she kill a man. That's why she don't want to push, she wanna stick around. But she still say that she love me cause I'm sexy. And I tell her that she lying, that she flexing. She be screaming, I be screaming, we be reckless. But I know that she be liking makeup sexy.
Number 3, Meji Alabi. This London-born Nigerian filmmaker, director, photographer, and producer has worked alongside Beyonce, Burna Boy, Wizkid, Davido, Tiwa Savage, Popcan, Goldlink, and Nasty C. He directed Seyi Seyi's Murder in 2014, a move that gave him the desired attention in Nigeria. Alabi also worked with Wizkid on his Made in Lagos album. He's a co-founder of JM Films with Jimmy Adesoya.
If you say you get the man, then you wanna try, you go die, baby. You've been a landslide for a long time, but then no one believe me. All up when I come back, you one try, but you do it easy.
Number 4, Dami Twitch. His original name is Owolabi Oluwadamilola. Twitch started with photography in 2013 before going to full music production in 2017. That was the year he shot his first music video for Burna Boy and Yonda. He has gone on to shoot visuals for Fowls, Burna Boy, Olamide, Lil Kesh, Victor A.D., Simi, Peruzzi, Mayokun, Leah, and Davido. Number 5, HG2 Filmworks. Olaolu Olabode Folarin, also known as HG2 Filmworks, the Nigerian-American music video director, graphic designer, entrepreneur, and cinematographer. Olabode began his production journey as a graphic designer and later went into full-time music video production in 2010. He has directed music videos for big-name artists like D'banj, Kiss Daniel, Dami Crane, Reminisce, Nice, and Scales. You will agree with me that these directors bend over backwards to churn out massive videos for our entertainment. And such, they deserve more than enough accolades for their contributions. So whenever you watch your favorite artist videos, always remember the men behind the scene.
Nobody worry for that. All rodents and reptiles, so they disturb, they die.
I'm a graduate of Political Science Social Studies from Adini Rogosaya College of Education. I graduated in the year 2020.
See, as of now, I'm looking for other jobs that I can merge together to meet up with responsibility.
One time I remember trekking from Oriental Hotel to Eco Hotel, dropping my CVs at every place, dropping my CVs at different restaurants, different bars, different hotels, just hoping for something.
Pius is a graduate of computer science, but he drives an Uber for a living in the city of Lagos. Although underemployed, Pius is considered a tad lucky because 41% of the labor population with bachelor's degrees are without employment.
I got several jobs. When I go for the interview, I'll pass it. They'll say I'm too young, they want an older chef. And then so things like that were very, very frustrating. They almost pushed me off the edge. I was almost at the brink of going to call my friends and be like, okay, let me learn this Yahoo thing. But I just decided to keep pushing. Then I heard about this Uber thing. I got my first car. I was driving for somebody. I was supposed to be paying the person 25k a week. But sometimes when I walk, the car was having so much issues. If I make maybe 20, 30k in a day, the car, I'll end up spending like 27,000, 25,000 on fuel. So I couldn't keep up. I had to go for another car to another car before I finally found this one. And this one I'm driving to own the car, and I'm almost done with it.
Presently, 1 out of every 3 Nigerians that are able to work are unemployed. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, 23.2 million Nigerians are out of work. That is almost the entire population of Sierra Leone, Liberia, and Gambia combined. While Nigeria's youth population has increased much in the last 1.5 decades, the available economic opportunities are shrinking. Nigeria is facing an increasing youth bulge with over 123 million young citizens, but there are just not enough jobs for these youths.
From 2015 to date, I find myself jobless now. Presently, I'm managing a job, electrical job, which I invested my money and went to go and acquire some skills, which is providing money for me now.
Instead of me searching for a job, my father just advised me, instead of you working somewhere, killing yourself, you know what the country is now, just go into this. And I thought of it, I started making research, then I started doing my father's business. And that was how I started selling ads. I sell ads here and there.
Up to date, if I see a job, I will work, but if the pay is meaningful, because now they can't give me a job that will be earning like 45,000 or 50,000, because now through my electrical job I'm doing now, I earn more than the salary I think they will offer me now.
The dire unemployment situation, which some believe is more severe than reported, has been made worse by the coronavirus pandemic, which has led to shutdown of businesses. The adverse effects of this rising unemployment rate in Nigeria are becoming enormous and far-reaching.
Where there is unemployment, there is psychological desperation in itself, the sense of not having something to do. Then you also have the cogent economic consequence of not having money to spend because you're not working. This economic consequence then falls into a sociological consequence, which is a criminal side, because if people cannot fend for themselves, they either beg or steal or engage in any kind of disruptive criminal act. For these reasons, for these 3 reasons of psychology, sociology, and economic reasons, it is very important that we take the issue of unemployment very seriously.
When you are not able to meet your basic needs, when you that were able to put food on your table, you're now struggling, you that you were able to give somebody 5,000 naira, you're the one that is now begging 5,000 naira, it affects your sense of worth.
The unemployment problem is compounded for those living with disabilities who have to deal with extra hurdles, people like Christiana, who is a visually impaired business owner and tutor in Lagos.
We have this misconception that when there is no sight, there is nothing you can do. But in my own case, it's not like that. But one of the problems that we have is like people never had that trust with people living that disability that they can deliver it. And at the same time, people look down on us, low esteem, and there is discrimination and stigmatization that you cannot deliver.
The problem of exclusion is also gendered, as the numbers show. While the rate of unemployment is high, women are the worst hit. In stock terms, there are 30% more unemployed women than men. Women face barriers that men don't have to deal with.
So the woman who's at home and who's caring for the children, or who's the natural carer, would we say that that person is employed or not? I would dare say that they are employed. Now, we may have as high as 10%. Like I said, I think it's more. We may have a lot more women not employed in the formal structure. as we know it, either within the corporate world or perhaps down the line of entrepreneurship. And there are very many different reasons and factors for that. But the starting point usually has to do with, the girl-child education, as we know, based on our culture and based on the long-standing statistics that we have that show that the girl child is not as educated. We don't take the same opportunities for the girl child as we've taken for the boy child due to cultural nuances. Traditionally, we believe that we should, educate the boys and not the girls. So let's go further up the pipeline. You do have girls who on graduation start and compete as well as the boys in terms of their careers, in terms of paid employment, and we're seeing a lot more of them now in terms of entrepreneurship. However, what tends to happen over time is, again, they tend to drop out when it's time perhaps to have a family. So it's really down sometimes to the choices that are made. And what we must do to try and balance things out is make sure that the choices that are open to women are actually more. So what are those things making them drop out? What are, for example, the reasons why midway through your career, you have to make a choice to say, I need to focus on my home? What then can employers do to ensure that these women are given the opportunities? How can we expand the choices such that I can manage my home, manage my career, still look after my children? And sometimes it's very simple things like, do we have the facility for childcare?
Unemployment in Nigeria is not just about availability of jobs, but also about the education system producing the right type of manpower in the right quality and quantity to industrialize the country. State actors and stakeholders say many Nigerian youths are not employable because their skills are largely divorced from labor requirements.
I think, in my view, reviving our technical and vocational education and training systems, it's not optional. As a matter of fact, it's where we must go, pari passu, our other academic institutions like universities and co, such that you'll find that we have a lot more focus around disciplines, around trades, around disciplines, around specializations. We're in I'm in a room now, and I'm in your station, where journalism is a profession, right? But then there are also certain skill sets, whether it's graphics, whether it's creatives, that work very well with your industry. Now, not all of the skill sets that you need in this radio house require a university degree. So a lot of them can be honed, right from even maybe senior secondary or even post-secondary through different diploma programs and things like that. Now, that's what we must do in terms of our skilling process, so that you have what you call a multiple pathway to your aspiration in life.
Vocational training is the key, is the answer. Germany, all industrialized nations, they all depend on these skills training. They have a robust, developed infrastructure for skills training. And so we cannot, no economy, no country can really move forward without having a developed structure, a developed ecosystem, a developed environment to train people, to send people for internship, or to train people, intern people, and eventually create employment for people. Because eventually it is those people who are trained, it is those people who have gone through internship, it is those people who have become employable who eventually becomes employers themselves.
But where are these vocational schools? There are just about 123 government-approved vocational schools across Nigeria. Aside this, there is also a certain stereotype that discourages students from enrolling in such schools.
The reason why some people don't like vocational work depending on the area of specialization, you have to, when you want to work, you have to change your wares. And some don't like dirty work. Like me, I'm a plumber. People don't really know. Once I'm done in site and going home, people don't really believe that I'm a plumber, because maybe my stature or the way I look, or so people don't really believe unless they see me while working on site.
So unfortunately, the number of people who are applying, to learn skill and all of that is still very low in number. And I actually understand why it is low in number. When you operate in an environment that glorifies certificate over skill, when you operate in an environment where the skilled workers are not properly paid, when you operate in that environment where there is no glory in having skilled work, of course, the youth will not be interested in that. But when you operate in a society that celebrates certification without adequate work, and that do not pay people living wages for their skills, then of course there's going to be very low interest in that particular field of work.
In the absence of white-collar jobs, many youth have turned to the informal sector, earning a living with small businesses and creating employment also. Presently, these small businesses account for 96% of businesses and 84% of employment in the country. Despite the significant contribution of SMEs to the Nigerian economy, the sector is still struggling with growth.
For me, there are three things. The first one is infrastructure. Power, for example, access to markets. When you are an SME or a member of the informal sector, if you are producing something in small quantities, after you've paid your rent, you've bought your raw materials, you have your equipment, you of course have to supplement power, because we don't have stable power in the country. So I think that's one of the major issues. Another issue is double tax or multiple taxation. A lot of businesses, there's no clarity on who they should be paying what taxes to. So for example, I once worked with one of the mobility startups in Lagos in the bike hailing space. And whilst we were, trying to speak with the LIRS, for example, about personal income tax or some basic tax from the drivers, we were obviously also having to deal with the unions, with their daily levies and all of that. So therefore, things like that will stifle businesses and informal sector players.
Although the informal sector may be having an influx of educated youth as players, there is also the snag of these graduates being majorly unequipped for entrepreneurship.
The world is moving from theoretical based learning to case-based learning, where you sit and you study case studies, you study practical lessons about scenarios, right, for business. I think it was Obasanjo, regime that tried to introduce entrepreneurship studies as one of the general GES courses or general studies courses. And, you look at the syllabus of that course, it's the same theoretical stuff, right? So there is nothing that prepares them properly for the challenges, for the realities, for the type of dynamics that they will be facing if they go out into the business world, right? If you look at the Igbo apprenticeship culture, it's an amazing learning point, because everything does not have to be. All your learning, your education doesn't have to come from the classroom, right? It does not always have to come from the classroom. So I think if government was serious enough, right, I would expect that the SMEDAN, for example, should have put in some type of structural support for the Igbo apprenticeship model, so that we can replicate those models across various societies.
The government acknowledges there is a bulging youth population with overwhelming unemployment figures. They, however, also insist they are addressing the problem.
The government has been consciously and in a deliberate manner trying to address the issue of the youth bulge. It's not just about the numbers. It's also about what are the needs of the variegated strata of the youth population. First, education is key because education is power. Education is the greatest weapon against poverty. So the government has committed so much into education. There's emphasis on technical and vocational education, on the skills that you have. That's one. Two, as regards to the new technology, the digital economy, the ICT as it is, we've seen that our youth are IT savvy. We've seen that our youth have innovative minds. And my ministry, which is the Ministry of Youth, for instance, just during the COVID era, that's my first year in office, we were able to train close to 100,000 people on digital skills, which is still ongoing. We have quite a number of other skills. But the emphasis all around has been that the need to upskill our youth is a central agenda, but also to match the skills with the jobs available. There's been a mismatch in the past. But under this government, we've seen a deliberate effort to make sure that the upskilling of our youth, where that the skills they acquire matches the jobs available in the market, so that you just don't train them and throw them back into the job market. I know that you must have read it. In 5.5 years, this government has created 45 youth-focused programs. Some of them are empowerment programs. Some of them are entrepreneurship training. Some of them are technology training. And these programs are domiciled in various ministries.
Nigeria has not lacked special intervention programs. There are many of them. Yet, there are many unemployed youths as these intervention programs have failed in dropping the increasing unemployment rates. Critics argue that these programs are unimpressive.
For the intervention, or rather the interventions of the government, I'm going to score them high on intention and I'm going to score them low on performance or on result. High on intention because the act of rolling out a lot of intervention schemes like the End Power, You Win, and the various ones, including trader money, all to activate employment, shows that there are people thinking, there are people of good intention out there. But the method to which they've approached it and the results they're getting makes me score them low on it, because in 2021, it is not the role of government to be creating jobs for people or to be doling out money for individuals to grow their businesses. What the government needs to do are three, really, is to overall create an environment that allows employment to be created. Who create employment is businesses. So the government needs to create an environment that allows business to thrive and create employment, and thus doing, fight unemployment.
Government will tell you, BOI, CBN, all of these guys, they'll tell you that we are providing interventions for MSMEs. So we have this 10 billion, we have this 100 billion for MSMEs. And then they will give you the guidelines. And then in the guidelines, you will see that they need you to be registered with CAC, they need you to have a bank account, they need you to have a business plan, they need you to have a financial statement. Look, that already by design excludes majority of those in the MSME space.
To bridge its unemployment gap, experts say Nigeria will have to create 5 million jobs annually for the next 10 years. Is the Nigerian government ready to tackle this problem?
You know, that question is a question for Minister of Labour. It's a question for me, Minister of Youth Development. It's a question for the Minister of Finance. It's a question for the NBS. You know, but I only wear one cap. And my desire is that the youth unemployment will drop. What am I doing in that direction as a minister in this government? Is to make sure that we win our youth off this idea of just putting together a resume and looking for a job, a white-collar job, an office job, a 5 to 9 job. There's no country in the world that has been able to solve its youth unemployment problem without turning its youth into entrepreneurs. And that is the whole rationale behind the establishment of the Nigerian Youth Investment Fund. The emphasis is on two major things. That is, must invest in our youth, provide them the needed credit and capital, access to that capital that can make them become wealth creators. Second, we need to be focused ourselves educationally. We need to provide technical skills and vocational skills. China, 2 years ago, decided to close down over 200 universities or 250 universities and then turn them into vocational and technical schools, because the emphasis now in the developed world is the skills and what you can produce with your knowledge and your hand, not sitting down and carrying files in an office. So we need that paradigm shift. The AFDB leads clearly in the fact that we should move from youth empowerment to youth investment. That don't give our youth handouts, but give them tools, give them resources, give them credit and finance so that they can start. And look at this country. Our youth are they're hugely talented. The creative and entertainment industry dominates. Look at Nollywood, for instance. Look at where it is right now. And look at the musical world. Our Nigerian musicians, massive. But there's also a value chain. So there's an emphasis on looking at what's the value chain in agriculture. How do we put, you don't have to be a farmer. You can be an off-taker, just buy the produce and take it to the market. Look at sports, for instance. The value chain of sports is massive. Have we explored it? No. Under this government, we've been able to reclassify sports from recreation to business. And as we put together that policy, the entire value chain of sports as business will employ a lot of youth.
If Nigeria is to turn its large youth population into an advantage, then Nigeria has to rapidly reduce the disastrously high rates of youth unemployment.
You see, luckily and unluckily for us, we are an underdeveloped country. And most of what we have, what we need, we don't have enough of them. We don't have enough schools. We don't have enough hospitals. We don't have enough, almost anything. I can't think of anything that we have enough of. That problem of scarcity of assets should become the solution to our problem, in the sense that we should just sit down and try to create what we lack. To create what we lack, we need to think of what is needed. Why is it that we're not producing, and why is it that we're not consuming what we produce? Why is it that there is no urge to produce? Why are we having more pastors and politicians than manufacturers? If we want to boost Made in Nigeria, for example, I think we need to sit down and say, the first thing we need to do is perhaps create 5,000 production managers as a pilot scheme across the country, so that each one of them will go to different areas and specialize in one sort of production or the other. I repeat, I'm insisting on production, knowing fully well that where there is production, accountants will be needed, photographers will be needed, salespeople will be needed. The core of progress since the Industrial Revolution lies in production.
They really need to go fast because boys are not smiling, and then it can lead to early bloodshed. Early bloodshed in the sense that there will be serious competition. Boys know they smile again. Boys are willing to get their hands on anything just for this bar. And the government, if they are this slow, they will not be able to withstand what will come.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408, or send an email to marketing@PlusTvAfrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. From the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
This medal has been directed to empower 1,000 persons with disabilities in each state in the next 12 months.
When I start hearing the shoot of gun.
Whatever I have done.
Every public policy has winners and losers, and some will not be very happy with you, while others, usually the silent majority, will be quite happy.
This is TW Conversations. Today's woman just having fun, sharing her ideas and all those things that bother her. And no holds barred, no sides, just any of these ladies that you think is being crazy, that you think is being lovely, great, you just identify with them. And today my friends and I are going to be talking about finding purpose and the journey it takes to get there. Aren't we ready for the show today?
Yes, we are.
Oh, everybody seems like, aren't we ready for the show today?
Yes, we are.
So if you stay tuned, we're back with our conversations, and I will sit down right this time. I had to find a comfortable position. Yeah, we'll be back shortly. Okay, before we start, I think I would like to switch.
Woke up on Sunday morning.
You come this way.
Told my daddy I'm leaving home.
Yeah. You guys,
Going off to
you know the song by Daria Halabi?
tomorrow, even though I don't know where to go. Daddy says, son, don't be a fool.
Don't be a fool.
This life in the city is
You need to bring the song down. I mean, I had to start with that song. Ladies, you guys know Daria Halabi's Pray For Me. Yes. You know, it's like when you're setting on the journey to purpose, really, you need prayers as much as possible. What do you think? As I say, welcome back, we're getting into the groove immediately. And I'm going to start with Rosie, because she's right next to me. Getting on the journey to purpose, you can understand what Daria Halabi did in that song, asking Daddy, I'm going to the city, you need to pray for me, because I don't know where I'm going. Is that kind of like what happens to us in life?
I think in life we're often challenged at different times, and we keep asking ourselves, why are we here on earth? Mm-hmm. Why have we been put on here? What is your impact? What are you going to leave behind? And we question ourselves, but our purpose changes, I believe, as we travel through life on this journey. So based on experiences, based on things that impact us, we start questioning and reaffirming.
We do that early? Do you think people do that really from like Chisom's age? Do they start to question, or they just get on with it? They just live?
I think that almost happened to me, because I remember after NYSC. Well, at some point, when I finished, there was a phase that I had to go through that. Maybe I should put it that way. Because I know when I finished NYSC, it was my sister's wedding, so we all went back to Calabar. After older sister's wedding. Mm-hmm. And then I realized that, okay, everybody had gone after the wedding. What's next? I was trying to get a job, and I'm like, you know what? This Calabar is not working for me. I just carried my bags and I went to Lagos. And my dad was like, you're just going to Lagos. What's going to happen there? Because I just left and I just went. And somehow, in a few months, I got a job, and here I am. But that exact thing happened to me.
I wonder it was purpose that was driving you, though.
I just know that I shouldn't have been there. I don't know. I just felt like
that's how... I should have been in the Efok land.
Any longer than that. I was like, you know what, maybe just try. And I guess that as I've grown older, I've also realized that, you know what, just be doing something. Somehow it will fall into place.
I don't know about purpose. One thing I know for sure is that first how we talk in this place, she will first listen to all of us before she comes in. You're the gentle one in the house.
Well, I don't know. The thing for me about purpose is I don't think... I've never seen myself like, okay, this is what I want to do, this is why I'm here. Because I just feel as if I'm questioning God. Because there's no way God is going to talk to me and say, oh, Sauda, this is my vision for you. So sometimes, even in my business and in my life, in my marriage, I always try to be a bit flexible. I don't want to be the one saying, God, this is what I want, and this is exactly what you're going to give me. Does it have anything to do with religion? I don't know. Does it have anything to do with your faith? I won't be able to answer that question, because I think about it in the religion. I'm biased in one way, because everything is about religion. So me praying to God and say, God, I'm like coming here, I'm like, I have to do this, this thing must work. I'm like, what's wrong with you? God is the best of planners. He sees everything.
So submit to his will.
So you cannot actually say, this is my purpose. He never told you that. You assumed it, you took it, and you're telling God to bless you.
Do you agree, though? But you're young. I keep saying this, but don't worry. You know, ignore me. Because you are at the point where we assume that the young ones have no purpose.
Well, realized it.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, some of us haven't identified what our purpose is. On the other hand, some of us have. I think I'm one of those people that I'm on my right journey to purpose. I think it's it's majorly from the experiences that I've had before that is enlightening me more on the path to go.
What are those experiences that made you so wise? So wise and so sure.
Till 90,
20, I know.
And you turn. You know, I found out that in faces, like
Rosie already said.
Rosie said, purpose differs, they change at a point. I think the assignments under the purpose actually changes, not the purpose itself. So I think your purpose, I think my purpose in life has to do with humanity, and it could differ at some point in time. I could do humanity.
No, I think humanity is broad. If you ask me,
yes.
There's so many.
Yes, yes. So, like she said, yes, like Rosie said. Purpose actually differs. No, the assignment under the purpose differs, but not the purpose itself.
Is that what you're saying?
I think ultimately you must be at a place of balance, of peace.
But what's
of
purpose
ease.
then?
So when you are achieving your purpose, that is when all is aligned. Because you're at peace with yourself, you're able to impact, you're able to drive change. But your soul is at one, literally, with the universe. So if it is around, and I know, Chisom, you do stuff
backwards.
Okay.
Okay, purpose, yes. Instead of searching for purpose, there's a saying that goes that when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable.
Absolutely.
So if you say to yourself, okay, if I don't know what my purpose is, I may stumble on it accidentally and abuse it, even myself. So that should drive you to try to discover what it is so that you don't misuse the opportunities.
Well, I
that
think
present
purpose
themselves.
could come from identity. Identity is very important. A lot of us have misplaced priorities because we haven't identified who we are as a person.
If I keep hearing this,
if we have
this little rat telling me that a lot of us have, how does a 20-year-old know what their identity is?
But very early, you know, at her age, I was going to disco and things. You know, and just it was just nice fun.
Yes, I have
really
fun
do
in my own way. Like, I like to chill in my own way. I don't.
What is the thing that gives you peace, like Rosie said? What is the thing that gives you peace and makes you feel is not paying the bills? Because a lot of people have said that my purpose is to do humanity.
Are you sure you're Africa and you're not
Ibro? My husband has rubbed off on me.
No, but I wonder if purpose is necessarily where we drive our financial
revenue from,
independence from.
Yeah.
Okay.
You would have someone who is aligned and the purpose and that drive is generating an income. But there are others who may use their income to drive that purpose.
Yes.
So I think we could look at it in different ways. But ultimately, are you doing something that fulfills you and causes you to feel that I am having an impact in this world? I am giving something to this world and I'm leaving my presence in the sands of time.
Okay, ladies, let me just say this. We're talking abstract now, so maybe we should define purpose as we understand it. Okay. And I'll start with Saudat, because I don't know how easy it is for your purpose to be disconnected from your faith. Because I, as a Christian, I believe, when I ask myself, what drives me is love of God and love of man. So everything else I do is centered around that. And it's only with age I got to that point. At 17, I was telling God I want to be able to wear jeans at 40. You know what I mean? You know?
Yes, I can relate. I can relate because I have to ask. When I pray, I will just pray for clarity. Why am I here? Sometimes I go like, use me. This, what I'm doing, I want to use it to serve you. So I define my life, my marriage, my business and everything. It's always as if I'm serving God. So my purpose as a Muslim, I tell myself that I'm a Muslim. I'm now a Muslim by choice. I'm a Muslim by birth, but it got to a point where I became a Muslim by choice because I could understand it. I had read the Quran. I knew what was, what it said. And I could relate it to what I'm going to do. So when people say, "Oh, this is why God put me here," I'm like, I never am able to relate because you get people that have done something for so many years, and maybe because someone had an accident. Because of what happened at that point, it changes them and they start focusing on something else.
Absolutely. Like people who end up having children with disability, for example.
Yes.
And they start a new life path.
They start an NGO, they start something that is totally different,
That sometimes in the middle of your pain, you actually find your purpose.
Or your experience, not necessarily pain.
Like joy.
A lot of,
but does it come out of pain most times? I think it's pain that actually kicks you in the butt.
Yes, because I can't relate with a woman who is believing God for a child because I had babies easily. But a woman who has spent 10 years waiting on God for a child can sit with somebody who has spent 5 years and is, discouraged, and she understands the path.
If you look at it differently, some of us stumble upon it.
Okay.
Sometimes it gets pointed out to you.
Yeah.
You don't even know that's what you're about. Then someone says, you know what? I went through an experience when I lived in South Africa. And because you're very akin to why did we go through this? And I found out at a point, a friend said, you know what? We all wouldn't be here if it wasn't you as always connecting people.
What was the experience?
My experience was one of being almost like the fulcrum.
And it was too much
different types of... At the end of my stay in South Africa, one of the things that motivated me leaving South Africa was I felt spent. Emotionally, I had been drained. That's how I felt.
You were everybody's
I was always in the middle of it, but in for positive things. But ultimately, I was done. And I wanted to come
As a Christian,
home.
there's something that has been, a lot of people have preached about it, and it's always like, don't waste your pain.
For you, your father, your parents were pastors, and so have you become a Christian
My mother's pastor. I grew up in. I didn't have a choice. As in,
so but now it's a choice.
Now it is a choice. I've come to realize that I understand the religion better, like she was saying, and I believe that I now know why I'm a Christian.
And
you know, and I feel like my purpose.
Because my father was a bishop in the Methodist.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow. So I grew up
initially
in a
you're
man's.
compelled to go to church.
Initially.
Yeah. So yeah, but I feel like don't waste your pain is one message that has really touched me, because I feel that everything you go through, that's the way everything you go through is for a reason. So when you go through some sort of pain or when you go through some sort of experience, how can I pass it on? How can I pay forward?
I wonder though what kind of pain you could have experienced that made you so wise. Because I mean, you're here worried about humanity, worried about this. Something must have happened to you that made you worried.
Yes, growing up, I think the society painted a picture of how...
You are still growing up.
I'm still growing up. I'm still growing up.
Sorry.
Okay, yeah. So anyways, growing up, the society painted a picture of how a woman should be, how a woman should grow up and become. And there was a lot of issues about self-esteem, bullying, self-confidence.
Were you bullied?
Yes, I was.
But you went to an all-girls school, if I know.
Well, yes, I did.
That was high school or...
That was high school. But then bullying doesn't only have to be physical. It could be very emotional.
Wow.
Yes, especially when people just look at you and think that everything is all right. Nobody knows what's going on in your mind. Nobody knows the words people say to you actually means a lot.
Okay, I guess that's why your purpose became talking to the younger ones to help them build up a self-esteem.
Yes, one of the major reasons.
Okay, so it's on a phase. I must take a break. I'll take a break and... okay, no. Let me let her land, right?
Sure.
So, so because this bullying, you didn't tell me quite if the bullying was from your fellow classmates or the bullying was from society. Just being in the world. You keep saying society.
Yes, school was one. I mean, they did not have to, like I said earlier, it wasn't physical, but through their words and through their actions.
Let me just make it easy for you. This girl had to drop one class.
Yes, I had to repeat.
Absolutely, she had to, and that changed her.
Yes.
Okay. Oh,
I had to
repeat.
And that period where I had to repeat, a lot happened. It was a moment for me to decide if I wanted to keep seeing myself as a failure or if I was going to move ahead. And I think the point where I had to repeat was not just it. It was things that came with it. You know, the fact that your juniors became your mates and your mates became your seniors. Yes. You know, and people who used to be your friends just sort of looked at you like, hello, dumb, you know.
So how did you get out of that? I mean,
that's a lot to deal with.
You know, she said something. She said, everything happens for a good reason. That's how most of the...
I don't know which one. Okay.
And, you know, because I believe that strongly. So when I'm in pain or when stuff happens, I try not to go too deep into that pain. I'll go like, okay, cry as much as you want to cry and now ask yourself. I believe strongly that when something happens, you need to have clarity and go like, what is this for?
Did you ever feel that kind of pain that made you change?
Every pain is change.
Pain of childbirth. But you still went back to the labor room.
You don't want me to tell you the story of that. I did because I knew I didn't want one. But my mom was with me in the first one, and I looked at her. My mom had 5 kids, and I'm like, why did you do this 5 times?
So you should be asking why I did it 6 times.
You all know that story, I think. But, you know, I was so upset. I could only do it twice, honestly. But every pain, you know, so that you made a statement, I can't quote to you, but, you know, it's like, don't waste your pain. There's something. There's always something. You fall down, you have an accident, your child dies. Yes, we all have to, but you have to find out, you know, sometimes there's a hole there. If you do not acknowledge the hole there, you fall every day. So you must know whether you have to fill it up or whether you have to go around.
Perfect point to take a break. Anybody who's wise will know they have to put an advert in this magazine, in this show, Abby?
Yes.
Okay, I'll take a break so that we can put those commercials in it. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to our lounge. We've been having a lot of fun during this break, but then we want to bring another angle to it. What's the place of your skills when we talk about purpose? Is it very important? How important is it?
Whether there's a difference between skills and passion is what I should be asking, really. Because, I mean, you, for example, clearly you had computing or web design skills and you decided to use that to do the business that you're doing, but is your business related to purpose?
I don't want to talk about purpose. I just want to talk about the passion I have.
So
because this purpose thing, it can change tomorrow. So today is the passion I have for women. I just don't like hearing that, women can do this or men can do that. And the only thing disturbing women is because they have to take care of the home. It's something you can outsource. So for me, my passion is, making sure that the woman can go to work.
Can be who she is.
Can be who she wants to be without the excuse of, I had to go to the market to shop. So the skills I had when I started was to design a website. But by the time I found out in the business, I found out it was way beyond just putting a website up. You are managing women, and you know how we are. You have to manage.
How are we?
Everybody has their own life. We might eat eba, and we might make eba in our own. Everybody has one special something. And they want to talk to you. They want to, you just have. So many skills have to come in apart from
along the way. You develop more skills to make it easy.
Your passion, you have to train. If you want to follow your passion to maybe start a business, there are some skills you need to have to run that business. So it's not passion you're going to use to run business.
Is passion and purpose the same?
For me, not necessarily. I think I'm more passionate than purpose. I'm passionate about people, especially women. So things that pertain to us, I like to, when we had a confectionery company, people will come to pick their wedding cakes. So a couple will come. So we'd end up spending 2 hours to counsel. Because even picking the color of the cake, my family wants red, his family wants blue. Then she'll look at him, what do you mean they want blue? Okay, so I'll say, calm down. Couples always left finding out something that they didn't know about each other. So we helped to even them out. We told them what it was going to be like when they tried to merge both their lives together.
As for you, it was
so I found out that I could talk to people easily, and so I still do now. I counsel sometimes from my experiences and from other things that I've learned and read about over time. People find it easy to talk with me about them, and I can do that.
I can see how to.
Yeah, for me, I think they're interrelated. Passion, purpose, and skills. I mean, what's the essence of you doing what you're doing? What's the essence of you trying to counsel someone? That's because you're passionate about what you do, about your cake business and all. But the reason why you're counseling and the reason why you're going an extra mile, it's because of your uniqueness. And that uniqueness comes with your purpose. You don't want to have bad cakes. You don't want to give people bad
service.
Or even if it's what you do now, which is script
so you don't want to. Yes, you don't want to give people bad service, and that's the purpose of why you're passionate about it. And the only way you can do it better is when you improve on your skills. So you're probably doing more things to get better.
At being
I
see skill or natural ability.
No, but you see,
sometimes your skills are your natural ability. Sometimes.
No, but you hone it.
Yes, you hone it. You have to train it. Yes, you have to train it. Yes.
True.
I admire people who are doing things that are their purpose. When I, read up stuff on Chisholm and I find that she engages with these younger women and brings them up to, questions them, challenges them, guides them, then I think, why can't I do stuff like that? But to each one, their own.
Yes.
So how do you... Passion and purpose, I think, are related. Now, what is it driving me to do? I look at my skills, and I think I'm fortunate that I have an opportunity to engage with people as employees, and I have a role to play.
As an HR...
As an HR head. But then the fortunate thing is that I am all about unlocking people's potential. And that's what drives me. And so my purpose is opening the door, helping that person open that door and walk through it.
Even if it becomes
themselves.
spent in the process.
even if I can't hold myself back. So I'll be the one who'd be overworked. But I'll be like, yeah, but we can do this. But I get the energy from it as well.
Let me try and come in there. You mentioned something. You said you like what she does, and you think, why can't I do that? You see, that's what happens when we copy. A lot of people copy. You see someone doing something, and you go like, I can do that. But you see, what sustains her is something I learned in Vital Voices. I'm an alumni of Vital Voices. It's called driving force, which you mentioned. You're running a business, and someone wants to copy your business. There's a driving force that comes to play when challenges come. Mm-hmm. And that is the only thing, and your driving force, your purpose, your passion, is going to sustain you through all the crises. Yes. So if someone copies your business, the person cannot run it the way you're running it, because what drives you, the driving force about that business is what's going to sustain you when everything, when
I will come in
the problem.
here. That's if there are conversations, there are no conversations like the ones you find here. So, I mean, it's true. I mean, if you are sure of what you want to give, even if the money is not there, you must agree with me.
Yes.
You do it anyway for the fun, for the value it brings to others. But are we women? Do we understand this and how early? She understands it. Is she lucky to understand this?
She's lucky. She is. She's
lucky at her age. She's lucky. My daughter has found her purpose. She's 21.
What's her purpose?
She's a fine art student, and then she did some work with an NGO in the summer, helping young children in a remand home express their emotions through art. So she said to Mommy, snap. Art therapy. I want to start a social enterprise. I want to teach people how to express their emotions through drawing.
So how do we recognize
But
this?
it takes courage.
It takes courage,
I honestly give it to anybody that has left. I see people that have left paid employment and the structure that comes with it. You know that at the end of the month, you have a structure, you have a family to feed, you have all that.
25th
I'm telling you. But to leave and go and start something takes a lot of courage, and I give it to everyone that's doing it.
Can we just round up with saying, on the journey to purpose, right, there are certain things that you just have to suffer or enjoy.
Endure.
Okay, on the journey to, okay, for you, on the journey to purpose, you must learn to
be patient. It works itself out.
For me, it's courage. Do the things that you actually think you should be doing. It's hard to, but try.
And then for you?
For me, it's just know yourself. Know who you are.
Okay.
It's not what you don't have that limits you, it's what you have but don't know how to use.
It's not what you have that limits you, it's what you have that you don't know how to use. What do you think?
I think listen to your inner self.
Okay, so, I mean, we're all coming to the same conclusions here. I mean, are we all thinking alike? Have I done this thing wrong or something? I'm happy to find out that even at 20, you understand that that's what you're at 20, at 30, at 40, at 50, or even 60, getting close to 60, you find out that if you find the purpose, if you're courageous, if you're patient, if you know who you are, if you don't limit yourself, and if, what did you say?
Listen to your inner self.
Okay, listen to your inner self, then it's a no-go. So, have we made any sense today, guys?
Yes, I think we have.
We hope so.
Okay, if we have made sense, I think you should just
We've learned from each other, which is amazing. I think for me, that's walking away knowing that, oh my God, another part of my brain has opened up. And I want to sit and reflect. I want to sit and reflect purpose, passion, skill, self-limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
Looking at know yourself.
And being courageous.
Being courageous.
And something about admiring. You can admire, but like she said, it comes two ways. Admire because you are actually getting motivation and inspiration from whatever it is. It's more or less like a block for you a path for you to go through, not for you to bring down or just to want to be like someone else is.
So are you saying that when we tell our children have a role model, is that positive now, or is it limiting them if they pick someone that doesn't exactly fit where their purpose is?
It starts with the mind.
Yeah.
Why you're doing it, you know, yes, I think it's important for you to have a role model, but you should have it for positive reasons, for the right reasons.
Who decides what's positive? Who decides what's positive? So I think at the end of the day, it's a function of maybe not one role model, maybe two, maybe three.
Yes,
but find yourself.
No heroes.
Whatever the case is, don't hero worship.
Yes.
And we find that we're doing that a lot around here these days,
Yes.
right? And we do a lot of copy.
Yes.
But the truth, whether you copy or you hero worship, what it is that you are, you're only limited by the limit you set to yourself.
Exactly.
Once you're courageous enough and you're patient and you know who you are and you pursue the purpose, you shall endure. So like Dari telling Daddy, pray for me. Pray for yourself. And at the end of the day, know that this journey may be tough, but the journey to purpose, when it's merged with passion, takes us there. You may not give us cash. We'll see you next week.
Yes. Such a young man.
You love a song, eh?
I'm going to find it.
Oh my God, that was a very...
Dari. Are you content?
Yay.
So you can get up and before we're finished now.
I want to do...
Look, Mr. Deep Minded.
Want to play? I think you do. Okay, do
I must take a double portion of her anointing. I always say it on a minute. It's 10 years time that you say, I said it. Yes, so I was my mentor, mentee.
I bless you. I mean, it's so much more fun just enjoying this time. Can you imagine this game? What is it? Calm down. Calm down. Don't mind that. Always like this. Look at everybody use your small camera. You can't see us well, Jerry. What are you recording in this small camera? How can you really bully somebody? I'm not going to fear that. You know they're words you like.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408 or send an email to marketing@PlusTvAfrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
How can we have peace without justice?
Plus Politics. It's not just another political conversation, it's about keeping you in the know. The relevant interviews, asking the tough questions to those that matter. Get the answers you need. Does it mean that the people who were injured, people who were shot at, those who were involved in that stampede are not going to get justice?
It is unfortunate, it is sad that we have a government of deaf and dumb.
Analysis from top experts.
The last election was not really an election.
We feel that Obasanjo has a very special place in his heart for hating Ijaw people.
I think it really boils down to two things. One, trust and accountability.
Plus Politics, every weeknight at 7 p.m. on Plus TV Africa.
Nigeria, by extension, Africa, is faced with a lot of challenges. The growing youth population with little engagement, that is a ticking time bomb. We are a blessed people with diverse culture and highly cerebral minds who have a lot to say. And yes, we are talking. It is important we drive the right conversation that informs, inspires, influences thoughts and action. If we say there's beauty in our diversity, then let us embrace our diverse culture. We must continue to courageously be the voice of transformation as we are the hope for the future. Yesterday's conversations shape today. What are you saying to shape your tomorrow? We know you have a lot to say, and we are here to hear you.
The All Progressives Congress in Rivers State held a Thanksgiving service in Port Harcourt recently. Party faithfuls in their thousands thronged the Adoke Amesie Marker Stadium for the two-in-one event. The first part featured prayers for the nation, victims of the recent Kaduna train attack, and the party.
Gave us the riches of His grace, receiving us from the powers of darkness and bringing us into the kingdom of His beloved. Almighty Father, you are lavish in bestowing all your gifts, and we give you thanks for the favors you have given us.
In your goodness, you have favored us and kept us safe in the past. We ask that you continue to protect us as a nation and to shelter us in the shadow of your wings. Oh God, your people are represented here by all the ethnic groups and culture, by all people of religious persuasion. We are asking you this morning to heal the nation of our various ills. Heal the nation of mediocrity. Heal our nations of insecurity. Heal our nations of corruption. Heal our nations of bad rulers and delayed. Heal our nations of ignorance. Heal our nations of disunity, for it is in unity that we'll find strength. We pray that you give us your supporting hand in our new beginning as we glimpse the future, the unknown future, but a promising future.
10 to 14, and from the version of the Bible, NKJV. And I read, Now as Samuel was offering up the burnt offering, the Philistines drew near to battle against Israel. But the Lord thundered with a loud thunder upon the Philistines that day, and so confused them that they were overcome before Israel. And the men of Israel went out of Mizpah and pursued the Philistines and drove them back as far as below Bethkar. Then Samuel took a stone and set it up between Mizpah and Shem, and called its name Ebenezer, saying, Thus far the Lord has helped us.
Thereafter, Plateau State Governor Simon Lalong addressed the gathering. He congratulated the new APC executives in Rivers State for presenting a united front.
And the chairman of the Northern Governor.
Hey, okay, I beg, now don't raise your hand up again.
Our brother,
no, this man.
Amechi,
I beg you.
the Amana of the North of Northern Nigeria. That is to say, he is somebody in whom we are very comfortable. I also stand here to represent the Progressive Governors Forum. All the governors would have been here, progressive governors. But we were told that this is just a small takeoff from Rivers. And so they asked me to come and stand in for them. They asked me to come and stand in for them. For those of them who are not here, their spirits are always with us. Especially to our brother, the former Director General, because the journey started from here. I am very excited today because 6 years ago, when we started APC, we came to this stadium and we launched the zonal campaign. That zonal campaign produced a brand new president for this country. And he also led the campaign. We came back again And they said the only person that will lead the campaign again, it is an illustrious son of Rivers State.
You guys, the two of them. Now.
So in another campaign, I will produce another president.
Hand up again.
Today, the APC government is thriving. When we were told on television that there is no APC in Rivers State, I am sure what we have seen today, many people will not sleep in their houses. Because God is wonderful. Some people will say we want to take it by force. In APC, we will not take it by force. We will consider the grace of God. And that is grace, that grace of God is the one that is working in Chuboke, Amechi,
Former national chairman of APC, Adams Oshiomhole, commended the party for standing firm in spite of strong opposition in the state.
Let me join all those who have spoken before me in appreciating and acknowledging the man who has invited us to join the good people of Rivers State in prayers. First, to celebrate the unity of our party in this state, and even more, the great people of Rivers State. I want to appreciate the Honorable Minister of Transportation, my friend and my brother, who has extended to me and my family invitation to this great event. But I cannot appreciate him without appreciating the power behind him. Behind every successful minister of transportation, there is a more minister at home, Mrs. Chibuke Amechi. I appreciate my twin brother. The only difference is that he wears Babadiga and I wear my own khaki. As you can see, we have the same complexion. He wears a high cap in order to take one each advantage. Let me also appreciate the speaker, the deputy speaker, the authentic comrade, deputy speaker of the House of Representatives, who was once an activist in the university system, Honorable Wase. We have here a man who wears a clean, white, brilliant Babadiga that depicts the purity of his heart. Distinguished Senator Indume. I cannot fail to acknowledge the man with whom we try to go around to feed the people. When I stand by him, I realize I'm also a giant. That is Victor Diadon, National Vice Chairman of our great party, who has just been elected and re-elected. Maybe it's also an opportunity to congratulate you publicly and also to congratulate our brand new chairman, national chairman, a former governor, a former minister, a former senator, and now the national chairman of our great party, distinguished Senator Adamu Abdullahi. And I believe this unity fits squarely into the vision of the national leadership to ensure that there is unity in every part. You can't have unity in the whole if there is no unity in the part. It is the sum total of the unity of the parts that translates to the unity of the nation. I am particularly excited because we have made effort to unite our great party in Rivers State. And today, I am proud to be here to witness with my own Korokoro eyes the unity of APC under the able leadership of Honorable Chibuke Amechi. Your Excellencies and distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the leaders have spoken. And why we're here is to thank God for what He did to us, to thank God for giving us the Honorable Minister of Transportation, and to thank God for what He did to all of us, and also to thank God for what will happen to us, to thank God for what will come to us. We will start here in Rivers. Youths, you go and interpret what I'm saying. There is a saying in our group. We say in Hausa, Zai kasance. Zai kasance. Zai kasance means it will happen, no. It will happen, no. APC Rivers Adumeka.
Thank you so much. It is indeed an honor that this is APC Rivers State. I know on behalf of the Ministry of Transportation, I bring you blessings, prayers, and congratulations. I know this is the beginning of the march for 2023. It starts here. It starts today. It starts now. In fact, it's finished. It's finished. We have done it. Congratulations. And inshallah, see you at inauguration. Inshallah.
We are here to celebrate God for the good thing we have in Rivers State, for the unity of the party in Rivers State. We are here to pray for God to receive the souls of all those who died in the train banditry incident from Abuja to Kaduna. We are here to pray, God, that all those who are in captivity should be released. We thank God for today. I am here to solidarize with a brother and to bring you good message from the people of Southeast.
We former speakers across the 36 states of this country, we are here to show solidarity to our brother and friend, the man who has kept us going. And as I speak also on behalf of the governor of Plateau State, who is also a former speaker. And we are very many here. We want to say to you that all former speakers, irrespective of political dispensation and political affiliations, we are with our brother. Because Rotimi and Mechi Chibuke never discriminate against anybody. He takes care of both PDP, whatever political party you belong to, he doesn't care. He's a man who believes in human being and believes in the welfare of all. So we must support him. We are here for Thanksgiving. We will be here again for a bigger Thanksgiving. That is a prophecy, and it will come to pass in Jesus' name.
The high point of speeches came when the party leader in the zone, Right Honorable Rotimi Amechi, who is also the Minister of Transportation, took the rostrum. He first went on a lap of honor around the stadium, acknowledging delegates from all local governments of the state. He titled his speech, "Forward with Courage." In the first paragraph, Minister Amechi declared his interest to run for the office of president.
Fellow Nigerians, I stand before you today to declare my intention and submit my application to serve as your next president.
Listing his 23 years of public service in different capacities, Amaechi acknowledged the challenges facing the country. He offered himself to lead the onerous task of taking Nigeria out of the woods.
I have served our nation for the last 7 years as Minister of Transportation. For 8 years before that, I served as Governor of Rivers State. In the preceding 8 years before that, I was Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly. Within this period, I've also served as the Director General of President Buhari campaign organization twice. These 23 years of service have equipped me not only with great experience in governance and public service, but also compassion for the ordinary citizens of our dear country. After more than 2 decades in the public arena, I had wanted to go on holiday and spend more time with my family before charting a new course outside politics. But at 56, because I'm 56 years old, I'm a member of the generation born after independence, who has seen the good, the bad, and the ugly of Nigeria. I'm compelled by the urgency of our present challenges to place my experience and proven capacity at the service of the nation at the highest level. Those who know me can testify that I have always been a straight talker. This trait has not always made me popular, but I speak with truth. I speak the truth with conviction. So allow me to speak the truth here today. We are facing some very serious challenges as a country. These are problems of insecurity, challenges of greater accountability in governance, youth unemployment, and the scourge of spiritual poverty. These problems are, however, not the exclusive preserve of Nigeria. We live in a troubled world. The reality we used to know has altered in nearly every nation. Climate change has brought about food scarcity in some places. Population explosion has produced unusual pressure on resources and supplies. Poverty has become a challenge all over the world, especially in the developing world. The COVID crisis has placed unanticipated burdens on the budget of nations and put pressure on available resources. Transborder crises have erupted in unusual places and placed the internal security of many nations under pressure. We are part of the Sahel, an area of the world that is subject to frequent terrorist attacks. Let us look at our current challenges as part and consequences of these global trends. I admit that Nigeria's problem did not begin today, and they will not be solved overnight. But they are not beyond the capacity of our people to solve. Fortunately, that process has already started. There's an ancient proverb that a society, and I quote, a society that grows great when old men plant trees, under whose shade they know they will never sit. The current administration, under the able leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari, has planted many such trees in Nigeria's future. We have invested billions in infrastructure, human capital development, and made reforms that will pay off over time in terms of socioeconomic growth and stability.
We have invested heavily in projects and initiatives that will secure a brighter, better future for Nigeria. I am proud to have been part of this success story. It has been an honor overseeing the Ministry of Transportation in reviving the Modipon railways and working tirelessly to create an integrated national transportation system that will positively impact our economy, trade, employment, business, and national cohesion. Have we achieved everything we set out to do? Of course not. Could we have done more? Undoubtedly, there's always room for improvement. On reflection, the notion of running for president would have been far beyond the imagination of the young lad running around the streets of Cube or our small compound in Lubima. Not to talk of the young, indigent student leader, mobilizing peers at the University of Port Harcourt. But my aspiration is not about fulfilling any personal ambition. I am contesting for the office because I believe that it is my moral duty to give what I can in the service of my country.
Now that Amaechi has declared to run for the presidency on the APC's banner, what really are his chances?
There's no doubt, like he said, that it's going to be tough. But with a man, Chibuike Rotimi Amaechi, as a flag bearer, which I know that definitely all lines will fall for him at the end of the day in APC, and all lines will also fall for him, on the election day proper, where Nigerians are going to determine their destinies. And I'm sure that with God that he has always trusted, with God that we have always trusted, we have also always believed in him, in the capacity that he has. You can understand the man we are talking about, the man who has respect for those who made him. That man is Chibuike Rotimi Amaechi, 2023 president.
For him, he will continue. Look at the railway revolution. Look at the road revolution. The Niger Bridge, what Fashola has done there. It's the same kind of thing we're talking about. Look at the border, Bonny Road. These are roads that people thought would have been impossible. It's as difficult like the Third Mainland Bridge of Lagos. And this administration of Buhari is doing it. We are also having the cleanup of Ogoni. Those are the things that Buhari government has come to do, that Amaechi will continue. Women in politics, giving opportunity to women. When he was a governor of Rivers State, when he was in this state, a lot of women had political positions and they did very well. And also the youth had scholarships. We had scholarship and bursaries. And for education to flourish well, he has to replicate what he did when he was in Rivers State. Remember, he won the best UBE in Nigeria then. We were in the board of Universal Basic Education Board. So if he replicates that UBE standard in the federation, the real UBE, we will begin to see quality kind of graduates coming out from our schools.
I'm happy, more happy than surprised, but of course, until it happens. My father said you don't believe in your breakfast until you've eaten it. So of course we wanted to see the declaration live, which we have seen. But many people are celebrating and I'm happy and I'm celebratory as well. But now the work begins. There's a lot of work. We have to go around the length and breadth of the country, reaching out to people, preaching out to people. And that I think is something that the Rotimi Amaechi is, that I know is very comfortable doing. So we'll be joining him on that exercise. Of course, we have interest in the state as well, but we're going to have to mix both.
There is a common saying, one with God is majority. Because he has divine backing, I already said, from across the nation, men will just align. And before you know, what started like a small seed, yeah, I'm sure you were amazed at the crowd that turned out here today. A lot of people were wondering, where will the people come? People have even said there is no APC in Rivers State, but you are here. You saw the crowd for yourself. Surely, the God of heaven who brought him here today will cause every other line to fall in place, and the glory will be all his. And Nigeria will surely be better for it.
Who can battle with the Lord? Who can battle with the Lord? Who can battle with the Lord? I said nobody. Who can battle with the Lord? Who can battle with the Lord? Who can battle with the Lord? I said nobody. Who can battle with the Lord? Who can battle with the Lord? Who can battle with the Lord? I said
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408, or send an email to marketing@PlusTvAfrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the Babin, I pay my rent. From the Babin, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
There is no voting on social media. To vote, you would require a permanent voter's card. To get your PVC, visit cvr.inecnigeria.org. Create your account with a valid email address and start the registration process. An activation link will be sent to you. Click on the link and activate your account. Fill out the form, pick and submit a convenient date and time for your biometrics. Print the application slip, which should have your QR code. On the appointed date, go to the nearest INEC office for your biometric capturing. Thereafter, you will get a registration slip to pick your permanent voter's card when ready. Get your PVC today. This message is from Plus TV Africa.
Good afternoon, I am Messi Boku. This is the news update. Christians in Nigeria and across the world are celebrating Easter, commemorating the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Christians throng to churches for special services, prayers, and thanksgiving. Christians faithful spoke on the significance of this celebration and how it would reflect on their daily living.
So let this Easter, for you, my brother and my sister, mark a powerful turning point in each of our lives. That say, I must live life the way it is written of me. You know? Otherwise, I'm purely religious. And that's meaningless. But let me show you just one thing that is written of you and I. You know, at least if you say, well, I don't know what has been written about me, so I'm just doing the best as I know how. And I'll show you this morning so that you won't be able to say that again. Romans 8:29 is one thing that is written about you and I. He said, for those whom he foreknew, he also predestined to be conformed into the image of who?
Christ went to the cross to die for us, and he rose again. And because we have salvation and redemption, we can live our lives as saints, God helping us, and the Holy Spirit that dwells in us will teach us all things and how to behave and how to live our lives like Christians, good Christians.
We are all aware Easter is the time that Christ died and Christ rose, and he has used that as an opportunity to wash off all our sins. So it's a time for us to reflect on what Christ has done, and that now that Christ has died for us, it's for us to continue to live the godly life and be able to impact on everyone.
This is the day that Jesus rose, you know, and it means that we were crucified with him, we also rose with him. So all our challenges, all our problems have been taken care of. We just have to have faith and do our own part. For us, we need to live right. We need to live like Jesus Christ. There are some scriptures that was shared by Pastor Okeonuzo on how we should live. So those scriptures, we should look at them, use them to live our lives, because we need to be like Christ.
Presidential aspirant and Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amechi has called on Nigerians to be kind, open-hearted, and be accommodating to one another in his Easter message. Amechi urged citizens to be united, saying unity of purpose would endanger growth and upliftment in the nation. He called on Nigerians to come together and tackle challenges bedeviling the country. He called for a reflection of the values of Christ that requires one being accommodating to one another, irrespective of religion or cultural background. The PDP has urged Nigerians to use the occasion of Easter to rekindle their hope for a brighter future and a national rebirth. The party made the call in a statement issued by its National Publicity Secretary, Mr. Debo Ologunagba, in Abuja. According to the party, Easter is a celebration of victory of life over death. It offers the opportunity to further strengthen Nigeria's resolve to rescue the nation from forces against it. The PDP advised Nigerians not to resign to despondency in the face of life-discounting experiences, but reinforce their determination to unite and use their votes to give the nation a new lease of life come 2023. Human rights activist Femi Falana has urged the federal government to extend the presidential pardon granted some top Nigerians to people serving terms for petty offense. Falana made the call at the first anniversary lecture of spokesman of Afenifere Yinka Odumakin. He said doing this for convicts without selective and irrespective of class would give a reflection of fairness and equality for all before the law.
If you want to pardon your friends, you must also extend presidential pardon to all thieves in Nigeria. Because if the big thieves are being asked to go away, you must also extend that facility to others. Apart from changing military decrees to acts of parliament, the National Assembly has not shown any readiness to review the Constitution with a view to restoring the federal status of the Republic. Hence the demand for a sovereign national conference or restructuring of the country. Now, what did they do, the APC people? In their manifesto, it is well stated that if you elect us, if you put us in office, we are going to restore federalism in Nigeria. Oh, that's what the APC put out in 2014. As soon as they were voted to power, President Buhari said he doesn't know what they mean by restructuring. He doesn't believe in it. But in 2018, when we're going to have another election, a committee of APC was set up to deceive Nigerians, headed by the governor of Kaduna State, Governor El-Rufai. And that committee came out, beautiful program on restructuring, that Nigeria should be restructured. It was in their manifesto. They set up another committee on it. That committee said, restructure Nigeria for the purpose of the election. After the election, that report was thrown into the dustbin. And that is where we are.
The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has asked President Muhammadu Buhari to withdraw the pardon granted to former governor of Plateau State and Taraba State. SERAP is also urging President to propose a constitutional amendment to the National Assembly to reform the provisions on the exercise of prerogative of mercy to make the provision more transparent, consistent, and compatible. Senator Joseph Darie and Reverend Jolly Nyame was jailed for stealing 1.16 billion naira and 1.6 billion naira. The National Council of State had last week endorsed the pardon of 2 former governors and 157 others serving jail term following the recommendation of the Presidential Advisory Committee on Prerogative of Mercy. Now, as Christians are basking in the euphoria of Easter celebration, some Nigerians say it's worth celebrating, irrespective of many challenges. And that's on the Street Views. Take a listen.
It signifies freedom for me. Means that Christ came, he sacrificed himself, and he has died so that a lot of sins that a lot of people commit, even before they commit it, they are forgiven. And so once they just accept him, everything is gone. Yeah, there's insecurity, there is a lot of things, but Jesus did not cause it.
As a Catholic, Good Friday meant a lot to me because we are celebrating the resurrection of our Lord Jesus Christ. If you are alive today, despite the security situation in the country, you should celebrate yourself. You should celebrate Christ, because without Christ, there's no life.
Where there is life, there is hope, right? We have to, we don't we are Nigerians. No matter the condition, we are going to continue smiling and celebrating our life because we are alive and there is health, and we thank God.
It's worth celebrating because no matter what, we can't just deny ourselves the right to be happy. So we need to be happy, to share, because now Nigeria itself is very bad. So the only way you can come out of the bad situation is just for you to give yourself that happiness.
As a Christian, I just understood that Good Friday is the day that Jesus Christ went to Galilee and he was crucified on the cross of Calvary. And it's a very significant event. So regardless of whatever may be, what may come, the circumstances on ground, it should be celebrated. And it should be taken into consideration that this particular day is actually the day that somebody came from heaven, took the form of man, and died for our sins.
In what it, in any condition, we should praise God. When you are alive, be able to praise God. And especially this week, most of people is late. Maybe sickness or one thing or the other happens suddenly. So when we are alive, you praise God.
Ó ṣeun gbogbo nínú ayé wa nítorí pé ńgbà tí Jésù kú fún wa tán ó tún jíǹde tó rà wá padà nínú ẹ̀ṣẹ̀. Ìwé mímọ́ náà ló sọ wí nínú ohun gbogbo ní ká ṣáà máa dúpẹ́. Ó lọ́pẹ́ ni. Ọpẹ́ ló yẹ. Ọpẹ́ ló yẹ. Àwa láyé, ọpẹ́ ló yẹ.
And outside Africa, Pope Francis has urged leaders to hear the people's plea for peace in Ukraine as it's implicate criticisms for Russia dragging the country into cruel and senseless conflict. The 85-year-old Pope made this comment in his twice yearly world address to about 50,000 people in St. Peter's Square after a long mass. Pope Francis dedicated much of the address on the overview of world conflict to Ukraine, comparing the shock of another war in Europe to the shock apostles who the gospel says saw the risen Jesus. Moscow described the action at launch on February the 24th, a special military operation. And in business, the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, has said that the nation's inflation rate increased to 15.92% in March 2022. According to a report released by NBS in March, the Consumer Price Index, CPI, which measures inflation, increased to 15.92% year-on-year, which is 2.25% points lower compared to 18.17% recorded in March 2021. It further said that on a month-on-month basis, the headline index increased to 1.74% in March 2022, representing 0.11% point higher than 1.63% rate recorded in February 2022. Britain's Prince William and Kate join other members of the royal family for the annual Easter Matin service at St. George's Chapel in Windsor Castle near London. The Queen did not attend the traditional royal event. The monarch, who turns 96 later this month, is reportedly suffering from problems with her mobility. William and Kate, the Duke and the Duchess of Cambridge, arrived at the chapel with Prince George and Prince Colette. Prince Andrew, the Countess of the Wessexes, and their children, Windsor James Viscounts Sevier, were also in attendance. And in sports, Sadio Mane scored twice as Liverpool beats Man City 3-2 in a classic FA Cup semi-final at Wembley and kept alive their quadruple hopes. Ibrahima Konate opened the scoring after 9 minutes before Mane netted a Basel goal, tackling City keeper Zach Steffen on a goal line. Mane added his second with a thunderous volley before the break. Jack Grealish scored for City shortly after the restart, and Bernardo added another in the 91st minute, but Liverpool held on to reach their 15th FA Cup final. And that's the news update. For more stories, please follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel and Plus TV Africa and Plus TV Africa Lifestyle. Many thanks for watching. I am Messi Bopo.
Hello and welcome to VOA's Red Carpet. My name is Jackson Vunganyi. Thank you so much for joining us today. On this episode of Red Carpet, we have a film addressing police brutality in America, an all-female exhibit celebrating women in art, and a Malian filmmaker's documentary about the plight of women in her country. Let's get on with the show. And let's start off with some film news. A young filmmaker, Fatih Wale Mohamed Issa, who is from northern Mali's conflict-torn region, has made a documentary called Tamazret about the plight of women in her country. Here is the story from AFP. Her documentary follows a 15-year-old girl named Fatima, whose family fled to neighboring Mauritania because of the conflict, but then returned home. The young documentary filmmaker from Mali's volatile north says her goal is to shine a light on the plight of women in the conflict-torn Sahel state.
I made this film in the hope that it will touch our community, hoping it will shape their opinion about young girls and their education, and also to the state, the authorities too, It is a story of sensitization, in fact. I do it as a form of advocacy to the state and also to the community, so that they take notice of the education of our girls and so that the state gets more involved.
Mali is a conservative Muslim majority nation of 21 million people, where swaths of the country are in the hands of jihadists. There, the pressure for women to conform to traditional gender roles is strong. Issa comes from the same traditional nomadic Tuareg background as the character in her film, where education for girls isn't a priority. The filmmaker fled to Mauritania and returned to Mali and had to pause her schooling because of the conflict. Last year, Issa applied and was selected by an American NGO called Accountability Lab to make a short film about the status of women. The result was Tamazaret. Zaina Mohammed Ali, a project manager at Accountability Lab, explained that the NGO wanted to give a voice to women.
In general, the project consists of training 10 young women who come from various regions of Mali, with diversified themes that speak to the problems faced by Malian communities in general. The idea behind the projects is also to give women a voice so that they can express themselves.
Issa screened Tamazare last December alongside 9 other films commissioned by the NGO, which dealt taboo topics such as prostitution and domestic violence. Filmmaker Ryan Coogler, director of Black Panther, was briefly detained by the police in Atlanta after being mistaken for a bank robber. That is according to video footage released by the Atlanta police. Reuters News has more. Coogler, 35, was detained by police before being released on January the 7th after he went to Bank of America to make a transaction. That is according to a report from Variety. From we got the call, sounded like someone was trying to rob the bank, one of the officers says in the body cam footage. The director handed the bank teller a withdrawal slip with a note written on the back that reportedly read, "I would like to withdraw $12,000 cash from my checking account. Please do the money count somewhere else. I would like to be discreet," the Variety report said. The bank teller misinterpreted the situation as an attempted robbery when the transaction amount exceeded $10,000 and informed her boss. That's again according to Variety magazine. Bank of America did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Black Panther became the second highest grossing movie at box offices worldwide in 2018, heralded for its vibrant celebration of African culture and applauded as a milestone for racial diversity in Hollywood. The film was nominated for 6 Oscars, including Best Picture. It won 3 Academy Awards in the Best Original Score, Best Costume Design, and Best Production Design categories. Now, technology used to make a deepfake, that is a synthetic image of a person, may soon be helping foreign language films become more accessible. Matt Debo has the story.
How to make a movie work in another language. For decades, there have been only 2 options, subtitles or dubbing. Many viewers resist watching films with subtitles, which can distract from the action. And dubbing, which replaces a film's dialogue,
"This is the first time I've ever heard the word coward applied to the valiant warrior Bomir,"
usually results in mouths out of sync with the words they are supposedly speaking. When director Scott Mann first saw a foreign language dub of a film he made,
I was kind of appalled and devastated because I saw how different it was.
This got him thinking that there might be a technological solution. He co-founded Flawless, a company that uses a kind of visual artificial intelligence to digitally modify the faces in a film to match the new words.
Mit einigen der bekanntesten und kriminellsten Familien in dieser Stadt in Verbindung bringt und
the system is taking a very detailed look and an understanding of how a certain character talks. The system is able to kind of retime those mouth movements, like subtly alter them so they fit the new dialogue.
C'est amusant, monsieur.
Flawless uses voice actors who are fluent speakers of the new language. Another company, DeepDub, uses AI to simulate the original actor's voice in the translation.
That's not something that happens to me.
No es algo que suele pasarme.
We need only a sample of 2 to 5 minutes of the actors' voices in order to create what we call a voice model.
The new technologies promise to accelerate a growing appetite for content across language borders. But in the process, the line between humans and machines continues to blur. Matt Dibble for VOA News, San Francisco.
Now, 30 years ago, the Washington, D.C. neighborhood of Mount Pleasant was at the center of a national conversation on race, social justice, and police brutality. On May 5, 1991, people took to the streets of the mostly Latino community to protest the police shooting of Daniel Gomez, a young man from El Salvador, following a Cinco de Mayo celebration. And now a new film, La Mamplesa, by local filmmaker Ellie Walton, examines the root causes of the unrest that she says has contemporary resonance with the Black Lives Matter protests of 2020 that called for the end of police brutality in the country. The documentary, shot mainly in the Mount Pleasant neighborhood, features testimony from people who were around during the protest, using music and street theater to amplify an issue that echoes a familiar message in many of the recent social justice movements. Cindy Centano, a first-generation Salvadorian American, is the producer of the movie.
The inspiration for the film really started with everything that happened in the last 2 years with George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and countless others. We were seeing a lot of this conversation about the relationship between communities of color and the police and what was going on. And we really wanted to make a film that was sharing a piece of history that is not known as much, something that happened over 30 years ago, but isn't talked about in schools, that isn't addressed, that doesn't come up in the history books, as an example of how history continues to repeat itself. And so it just felt like a really important time to share this story and to do it in collaboration with the artists and leaders and activists who lived during that time, who were there during the uprisings, and honestly led a lot of the change that we see a little bit of now.
To start in the United States.
The film has become a favorite at local festivals like this one at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. Walton says that her goal was to tell the story of police brutality and systemic racism facing the city's Latino, Black, and immigrant communities from the viewpoint of the people who live it.
Hosting their will.
I grew up in the Mount Pleasant neighborhood in D.C., and it was a neighborhood that really raised me. The block parties, the porch culture, the Latino festival. And, I'll never forget, when I was 9 years old and hearing the gunshot, walking up the block from my house and seeing, Daniel Gomez being taken away in the ambulance. But more than anything else, I'll never forget just the expression on people's faces that night, May 5th, 1991. The anger, the frustration, the sense of enough is enough. And that feeling has always stuck with me and was one of the reasons I became a filmmaker, because I recognized this need to confront some of the injustice I saw that day. So fast forward, almost 30 years, I remember walking these very streets of Mount Pleasant and just being really struck by how few folks knew about this history, knew about the history that they walk every day. And that made me really mad. And so that, as well as, the movement on the streets to confront police brutality, just felt like this film needed to be made.
And let's close the show with some art news. An all-female artist exhibition has opened in London to highlight a lack of representation of art by women historically and today. In honor of International Women's Day, the exhibit called The Divine is launching at Hoffa Gallery. The exhibit includes renowned female artists from around the world. Here is the story from AP.
12 female artists from 9 different countries are bringing their works together for a special exhibition in London's Mayfair. The Divine at Hoffa Gallery, which is the House of Fine Art, aims to bring a stronger focus to a lack of female artist representation within the industry, as well as doing something to address the issue. Mary Ronine, an artist from Ireland, is showing 4 of her works, created in enamel paint and featuring scenes including women enjoying ski and afternoon tea. She says her humorous pieces are designed to intentionally disarm at first viewing.
I'm showing 4 pieces at this show, 4 large pieces. They're painted using enamel paint, which is a very different medium to use. You don't find it in an art shop. You have to go to B&Q or it's a domestic paint. And my pieces are humorous, so they intentionally disarm at first viewing. And then I'd like you to look a little bit more at them and go, well, what am I saying here? So it invites you in, almost like as if we were a child. We see it, we respond to the color, and then we look at it a little bit more depth.
Another artist showing her works is Susana Anaya from Mexico. She creates 3-dimensional artworks, many of which are round to represent wholeness.
I start like the old masters with pigments, and I start mixing them with the line oil and then impasto until I create a plasticity, and then I started with the knife, just put it on and on and on. It takes a long process because it's oil, but this is like at the end I really love the result.
Hoffa's head of sales, Alex Pirinoli, says it was important to the gallery to represent modern-day female artists along with those from history too.
More broadly, 48% of galleries globally only represent 25% women artists or less. And 10% of galleries was found in Art Market UBS report 2019 that represent no female artists, which is a worrying statistic. And certainly in here at Hoffa, we feel that it's important that that female artists and the contributions to the arts, not only from a contemporary point of view, but also historically, are recognized. I mean, I think there's few people, maybe perhaps even within the industry themselves, that can maybe name 5 women artists, and maybe one of them is most likely to be Frida Kahlo. And I think that's something that needs to be addressed. And
The Divine runs at London's Hoffa Gallery through March 2022.
And with that, we come to the end of our show.